this past weekend, there has been an announcement, a big, crazy adjustment to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! At a competitive level. There are now prize cards available all the way down the rung ladder of achievement of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! For day 2 and up. What does this mean? It means Yu-Gi-Oh! From a competitive standpoint is so freaking back, dude. It's so back. So basically the way it's going to work now is that if you day 2 a YCS, you get a pack, this special YCS WCQ pack that has a singular card with a card from this pool here. I don't know if this is the total or if this is all of them, but it looks like this is the now 10 total card. That actually does say here, card from a pool of 10 cards. So these are the 10 cards available for this season, starting from the WCQs, any WCQ, EU WCQ in June, I believe. You can get one of these 10 cards as a YCS stamped. You can see here if you look very closely, the image is stamped with the YCS logo. And you can get one of these if you day 2 a YCS. You get this pack here, and you could open it up, and you get something which is pretty valuable and can have resale value according to it. So this goes all the way deep into Top Cut. Starting at top 32, you get a stamped, super rare card trooper.
Brazil
For this upcoming EU WCQ and any WCQ Plus. On top of that, you get an ultra rare effect Veiler WCQ or YCS stamped going forward for the rest of the season if you get top 16 or higher, which is really impressive because Veiler is one of the most iconic Yu-Gi-Oh cards in competitive. So that's obviously really good. And for top 16 onwards, I don't know if they've said anything else, but I guess that's it. Well, that's it. You know, that's obviously a huge thing. But yeah, this is a massive, massive upgrade. Cannot express just how good, especially the day 2 one is. See, people talking about like the top 16 ones and the top 32 ones being like the best addition to this price support thing. I think that the day 2 pack is actually low-key more important. Because the carrot on a stick is very important to keep people invested in your game, to want to keep investing in your business model and also play from a competitive and grow the game and all that kind of good stuff, etc., etc. Money go up, stonks, etc., etc. However, what's really cool about this is day 2 of an event is quite a lot of people. It's like 200 plus, I think, can make day 2 altogether. And it's the... Farfa's happy about the only one he could maybe win if he's lucky. Yeah. Someone already made that joke yesterday. You're behind. So this is really important because this targets a huge demographic of players, whereas top 16 is not as realistic of a goal for a lot of people, which means they're catching more potential customers or users, as the terminology goes, to actually want to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And invest in their game, meaning population growth potentially. All things all around are in an upward trajectory for the game from a competitive level. I cannot express just how good the day 2 pack is because of all of those reasons. So a lot of people will probably look at something like a top 16 effect Veiler prize card stamp thing and be like, okay, that's cool, I guess. That's not going to apply to me. I don't really go to most events. If I do go to some events, it'll be like a local one. So maybe once a year, some German dude is going to be able to get a YCS attendance at a German YCS. And on top of that, potentially, put in the time and effort, go into day 2 and get something for their efforts. The resale value on a stamped Pot of Desires, I don't know how much these could be worth at the top end. 100, 200 maybe? Who kind of knows? But it's something. It's something, you know, so that's really cool. And of course, all the way up to the top, we've got the ultra rare effect Veilers, which, I mean... Brazil. These are going to be pretty good. These are going to be money, which is really awesome because, you know, blinging out a playset of ultra rare stamped YCS Veilers is huge. So yeah, that's really good. Now, all of the out of the way, let's talk about the bad things. Let's talk about the downsides, I suppose. See, yeah, you know, feedback is important. And before anyone gets angry and gets like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are never happy. Oh, God, just, you got your prize cards. Why are you still mad? Okay, listen, everything can always be improved. We criticize because we care. Now, Why are these rares and not supers? That's a serious question. Why are these rares and not supers? Next question. Why the fuck is Gagaga Magician in this pack? Why is Dante in this pack? I'm a BA player. I love that deck. And even I know Dante shouldn't be in here. Some of these other choices, okay. Gale, solid Time Wizard card. Charged Light Brigade, solid Time Wizard card. Pot of Desires, good staple. Cyber Dragon, starting to get a little bit, I don't really know what you're playing Cyber Dragon in. Adagnister, Bossmos, whatever. The Caesar's pretty good. But, like, why is Gagaga Magician in here? Who's gonna want this? That's really the big miss on, is some of the card choices. Now, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, by the way, that's a weird one. This is the confusing one, because you would think an ultra rare Blue Eyes White Dragon, or something, could be like a top 16 prize or something. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know why some of these other choices were here. Because now I feel like you don't want to day 2 a YCS, open your pack, and then have this massive disparity in value. That's kind of like the big issue here. Because if you day 2 a YCS and you pull a Gagaga Magician versus the guy sitting next to you who got day 2 as well, who then pulls a Blue Eyes White Dragon, like, I assume that the Gagaga Magician is probably going to be worth like 10-15% of what the Blue Eyes is worth, right? Like, that's just supply and demand. I assume the Blue Eyes one will be more valuable. So that's a really strange one, honestly. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. So yeah, some of the card choices are definitely sus. Now, long term, what happens with this? It means that they can cycle through basically every iconic card in the game. Although Card Trooper is, again, still a weird choice. More of a Time Wizard card than a current constructed modern meta card that I would think a YCS topping player would want. It's still a cool card, but it is a strange choice in terms of the card choice. Because I think that they should be meta relevant and they should be contextual to the game of Advanced Constructed, which is what YCSs are played at. Now, saying that, why not something like Snake Eye Ash, or a Mitsurugi card, or a Ryzeal, or a Malice? Now, I think the problem with having, like, I don't know, a stamped Dormouse sounds cool, but the thing is, all these cards have expiry dates, which is kind of the issue, right? I think that if you were to make the top 16 prize be something like more meta-relevant current contextual cards, doesn't really, I feel like it's going to hold its value, because let's be real, like, the way that the Yu-Gi-Oh's meta model works is it keeps cycling through a lot of the what's the word? A lot of its meta just by power creep, etc., or ban lists. So I feel like the top 16 prizing not being those cards is a good thing. I'll take Dormouse over Gagaga Magician any day, sorry. So that's something they could maybe do for the day 2 packs, right? Because the day 2 packs probably could be a good way to make the current meta cards good, and then the next season they cycle them out. Because those are always going to change year to year. The top 16 and onwards one should probably be the iconic stuff, right? Things that are going to last. Because this season, think about it. If you pull an Effect Veiler at the WCQ this season, that's great. That's probably going to be a card 2 years from now. 2 more WCQs. And it's going to retain its value, and it's going to be able to have that resale value, which is ultimately what people are looking for prize support, is to be able to, like, recoup some of their spending on going to the event, spending the money on the cards, etc. So Veiler is a great choice because it's going to have that timelessness to it somewhat. That's why I think they're probably holding back on making things like Imperm, Ash Blossom, Nibiru, even like Raigeki, Talents, Thrust. Like, these are all, like, kind of semi sort of timeless cards that only get maybe sort of stronger with time, or always kind of going to be in the precipice of the meta. So that's really good. So this is a good thing. This is a good thing all around. That's fantastic. Really happy about this. I'm probably not going to be competing for this, at least soon. I don't really see myself traveling to too many events, but hopefully, you know, if that ever becomes a thing again for me, this is a great incentive. It's really awesome. This is such a cool achievement, such a cool thing to try and aim for as a competitive player. So that's really good.
Going back to 3,
so yeah, that's saved. so many positives to this, and the only bad downside to this is just some of the card choices, which are very easily fixable and changeable. So I'm sure this will hopefully bring in a lot of ex-competitive players, bring in more competitive players. I think this is awesome. And yeah, this is better than those random playmats. Like, I couldn't tell you some of the YCS playmats over the last few years. I could name like 2 of them. Because playmats are just rubber mats. Like, I feel like we're way past that at this stage. Compared to, like, all the other card games. Now, unfortunately, the downside, I suppose not really downside, but the thing that's upsetting me when I look at this is, like, it really kind of is annoying to know that they're not... It doesn't really feel like they're listening to feedback. I feel like this was more of a forced action in response to numbers. Now, what I mean by that is players have been suggesting this for years. Why is it only happening now? Well, I think personally, in my opinion, is the recent success of One Piece has been doing this exact model for their top prizing. Is this stamped like top cut prize and all arts and stuff for their competitive player circuit and rewards. And very recently, I think it was December 2024, the first quarter reporting ever in terms of revenue share for card games in Japan. One Piece had a month where, for the first time ever, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was dethroned as the second most popular. Pokemon's always number one, where One Piece was the second most popular one. And so, reading through some of the Japanese Twitter responses and some of the Japanese player feedback that has been online a while ago at this point, they had many criticisms about their game like we did, right? Like, they were talking about things like prize support. That doesn't really feel like there's anything worth to play for in Yu-Gi-Oh! Over in Japan. And I feel like this is a knee-jerk reaction to One Piece's success, which I guess really just goes back to the point of feedback only really works if you're hitting the wallet, basically. Like, we can sit and cry about it on Twitter, as we have, and have given this, by the way, for years. Literally, this feedback has been a thing for years. The only real way to actually make a company listen to you is to stop giving them your money. And it seems like that has definitely been a thing, because Yu-Gi-Oh! For sure has lost players to One Piece, has lost players to Lorcana, and these other growing card games. It really isn't as simple as the big 3 anymore. Like, these are real games. These are real, real card games that are an actual, I don't know if threat is the right word to use, but a competitor to Yu-Gi-Oh!'s competitive circuit. And for a lot of players, over the last couple of months and years, you've probably seen plenty who have been and said multiple times, hey, love Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it doesn't feel like your time is respected, and it doesn't feel like your achievements are respected in Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's good to see that competitive players have something for them. But yeah, that's the prize support rundown here. So interesting stuff all around.